feels better. So what are we doing? So, all right, well, let's go through the motion here. News. So here's Seeking Alpha, and here's their news, and here's the last half hour or so. Manchester United, ESK doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, gambling doesn't matter. I mean, I'm talking about in terms of why our markets are down. Nope. Restaurant check, no. Dell is still a buy, I agree with that. NVIDIA is going to have a problem because they're doing the banning those chips from China. Real estate properties went down. That's a possibility. Apple 3 trillion. Wedbush says 4 trillion. 4 trillion. That's so crazy. All right. It's not, I mean, not, you know, not that Apple's not worth it, but just in the context of that being like all the money in the world 20 years ago, it's pretty weird. Home builder stocks extend gains as mortgage applications rise. Okay, we knew that already, but wow, look at that. That's pretty amazing. Deutsche Bank downgrades Walgreens after we just picked it. Give me a break. I don't like it. What's citing the outlook? Jesus Christ, people are stupid. That's exactly why we bought them. People just overreact like crazy. How is Walgreens today? Ooh, SoFi's coming back. No, still down where it was. That's okay. That's where he came in. We got plenty of chances to get in on our play. So yeah, so yesterday I liked Walgreens. Watch this. This is the portfolio review. This is today. Let's look at yesterday first. I love that picture. So it's fake. I mean, obviously it's fake. I hope that's obvious. But it's just such a great picture. What was it? Oh yeah. So okay. So yesterday we were chit-chatting in the morning, and we kind of, for whatever reason, started talking about Walgreens. I like Walgreens got knocked to 28.50. It's still at 28.41, and we decided to make a trade on it. Well, we looked at a lot of facts. I said, well, look at where we are. So for one thing, for a long time, their line has been drawn at 30. They guided down their earnings from, I think it was like $4.50 to $4. I don't have that here. Sure, I mentioned it somewhere. Oh yeah, here. So they were about $4.50. Now they're at $4 for earnings. So yeah, it's 10% lower, of course. So that makes sense. It drops 10%. That means if we're at 30, and if this was 30 and we thought they were going to make $4.50, then it does make sense that they could drop to 27 or something like that, let's say. But still, that's so low compared to the cost of $27. If you're making $4 a share, four times that, well, 4 times 6 is 24. So 4 times 7 is 28. So there you go. So $28 is only 7 times earnings for Walgreens. That's 7 times the newly revised downward earnings. And that's a little silly. I mean, what's going to happen to these guys? Are people going to stop going to Walgreens and CVS? No. It's an inflation thing. Their costs go up, their copays stay the same. So those copays they charge you when you pick up your drugs are going to stay basically the same. And other than that, they're basically a grocery store or super, and that's what they are. They're like a mini supermarket with heavily weighted to the drug aisles and the frozen food aisle, basically, of a store, and snacks, and lots of snacks, which which is weird considering that they're supposed to be a place that helps you get healthy, and they sell all the crap that makes people sick in the first place. But social commentary aside, point is, what's going to hurt their business? People come in for prescriptions. They pick up some stuff that they need that they don't want. Well, they don't want to go to the grocery store, so they overpay at Walgreens, and they go home. And Walgreens is getting more into services. They're doing more wellness care, testing, mini clinics, things like that. And they're getting more into the lab space also, so they can do more complex things. And now your doctor can send you to Walgreens instead of sending you to those labs to get a test. So anyway, there's nothing wrong with the business, and there's adjustments because of inflation. I mean, we see this in all parts of any kind of retailers are having this problem. Is that their costs go up faster than they can push this cost forward, and so on and so forth. So nothing inherently wrong with the business. So even so, I said, well, how bad is it? So we looked carefully at their slideshow from the earnings call presentation from yesterday that they did yesterday morning, totally up to date. And we decided this is not that bad. And therefore a trade. So in the short-term portfolio, we sold some puts. And see, the dividend is $1.92, right? We sell the 2025 $30 puts for $5. So if I bought the stock for $28.50, so if I buy the stock for $28.50, I'm going to get my dividend. And my dividend is going to be $1.92. Let's say it's $2, and it'll be $3 in 18 months, right? That's going to be my dividend. If I sell the put, I'm going to get $5 now instead of $3 over 18 months. My net entry, even if you take off the 3 that's the dividend, I still have a net entry of 28. That's lower than it is now. So even if you don't count the fact that I'm collecting $5 now, my net entry is really 25. But you know, in that is the dividend that I theoretically would have gotten anyway over the next 18 months. So instead of saying it's 25 net, let's say it's 27 net with a $3 dividend. All right, still in good shape. Or I'm sorry, 28 net with $3 dividend. Still in good shape, still great. Either way, the bottom line is I'm getting back in 18 months 1/6, which is whatever the hell that is. It's let's see, 1/6 is 16%, 17%. So I'm getting back 17% in 18 months. I'm making 1% a month on my implied purchase. There's nothing wrong with that. If Walgreens is over 30, we don't own it. If it's under 30, we own it. And meanwhile, when you look at the so this is set for portfolio margin. If I sell the $30 puts, oh, not that, sell the puts and sell them for $5, 10 of them, yep, okay. That's going to cost me $2,400 in buying power. Well, that's worth it. I'm going to collect $5,000. I'm going to use $2,400 in buying power. I got no problem with that, and I really wouldn't mind owning 1,000 shares of Walgreens. I could buy the stock for $28.30, whatever it is now, and I could sell the $27.50 puts for $4. All right, so what do we got here? We got $28.36 minus how much? $4.20 minus 4.20. That's $24.16. Didn't even sell the puts, just sold the calls, right? So bought the stock, sold the $27.50 calls, and now I'm going to collect my $3 dividend for the stock, plus if we get called away at $27.50, we're going to make $3.34. So here I'm going to make $3.34 plus the dividend while spending $24.50 in cash. The difference is I'm putting out more cash and I'm only making $1 more than I make selling the puts, making 6 instead of 5. So there's really no point, right? It's not necessary to do it with the stock. So that's why we ended up in the STP. I don't just look at one thing when I'm making the trade. I look at all these different ways of doing it, and then I decide, okay, so in the STP, it's a nice offset hedge. So we're going to sell 10 of these things for 30 bucks. By the way, another thing about that is if I sell it for 30 bucks, and let's say today it expires at $1.70. The $30 put where it is now expires at $1.70, $1.75, right? I then roll it to the 25s 18 months later that are $2.70. So I'm gonna get paid $1 to roll them $5 lower in strike. It's almost like you can't lose. The only way you lose is if there's a drastic, terrible drop off in Walgreens. And if we thought that was going to happen, we sure wouldn't be playing them, right? That's why they're on the watch list. We like the company. We did extensive research a year ago, and we like the company, and so nothing has really changed since then. Every year doesn't have to be a winner for you to pick a good stock. You know, stocks have good and bad quarters. You need to buy them when they're having bad quarters, not when they're having good quarters. Buy them when they're down. In the income portfolio, and again, we're aggressive on the puts. We're selling 15 puts, but the 2750s. So our worst case is 2750 there. We're buying 20 of the 2750 calls. We're spending $3,000 on the calls. Now that's on the uncovered calls. So our anticipation, though, down the road is that, oh, and by the way, it's probably a better price now, right? 2750, 360, 375, and we were looking for 365, so perfect. And the 2750 calls at 420, and the 2750 calls are 420 exactly. So not a problem getting filled. So here, the net of the spread is $2,925 on the calls, okay? They were $14,000 last week. These same calls were $7 last week. So we have massive upside potential if it bounces back. And even now, don't forget we bought 20 and we only have net 3,000 on the spread. So if we sold 20 of these, what are these, 35s? If we sold 20 of the 35s, we would have a 27.50 35 spread. That'd be a $7.50 spread, which would be $15,000 spread. And we would wipe out, because we're selling for $1.50, we would wipe out that net. So we'd be in the spread, we'd be in the trade for net zero if we did it that way. And our break even would be $27.50. But, you know, it's so good, we don't need to do that. We can wait. Let's wait. Let's wait and see if Walgreens bounces. And when I say wait, I don't mean till next week. I mean, let's wait until next quarter and see what they say. Maybe they'll say something encouraging. Maybe their cost program's ahead of schedule. Maybe it's on schedule and people will start factoring their cost savings program in. They talked about it, they outlined it, they showed exactly what they intend to do with it, but nobody seems to want to believe it. That's what they call an opportunity. And especially if it's stock we've been following that we like. So that's it for that one. La la la. So very slow today. Of course, we're talking about sunspots and stuff. Very bad. All right. And so today, talked a little bit about I'm talking a little bit about valuation, because I mean, frankly, I woke up this morning and I look at this and it made me think of, not that, sorry, that's the hourly chart. Here's the hourly chart. So I'm seeing this up here and I'm like, this is fake. And then I saw that picture and it reminded me, like, exactly. Then this picture to me was like the chart. It's like, this is just bullshit. But the problem is, just like a photo, people will look at a chart and because it's a picture, they go, ooh, that's what it's worth. It's worth $400. And it's not now. I can't short these stocks right now. You know, I'm not. I don't want to short these stocks. We don't have the margin for it, for one thing. They're too expensive, and it's a crazy margin to try shorting them. But also because you never know how insane the market's going to get. It seems to have no limit of how crazy the market's going to be. But the point I was making was that this and this are both just as fake. They are pictures that they are showing you at an idealized time. They have the same shoulders, you can see. But they have the same vertical and the same shoulders. But the point is, it's a snapshot at a time, and people are going to look at it and they're going to believe it, or they're not going to believe it. And the chart and the picture are just as much bullshit, and it's very, very scary that we no longer know what's real and what's fake. We really, you know, we need computers now to analyze the pictures to tell us whether the picture is real or fake, or you could just say there's no freaking Bigfoot. The easier way to tell us to say there's no freaking Bigfoot. Look at the feet are weird, and his hand is kind of like a tree, right? He's not like holding a cane. It looks like more like his arm is the cane. But that's, you know, those are the liberties AI takes, and his hair is more like moths than hair. Very cool though. I like the picture. His beard's kind of mossy too, so I guess maybe it's even. But point being though, that you can't trust anything you see these days, and you can't trust this. The same brush strokes or computer fakery that's used to do this is the same computer fakery that's used to make this. They manipulate the stock higher in a single week. It blows up from 300 to 400, 25, 33% higher in 1 week. Is not real. They didn't build that value. They didn't make that money. Some analyst said, wow, because of AI, NVIDIA is going to sell infinity amount of chips, and they're going to charge infinity amount of money and make infinity profits. So therefore, let's trade them at 100 and something times earnings, because sure, that's real. And interestingly, Tesla is in the same position. Okay, they made an electric car, and because of a combination of government credits and the lack of other competitors and so on and so forth, their cars have been selling at a premium for quite some time. And it's a long run. It doesn't mean you're not going to make money buying NVIDIA now and selling it for 600, because it'll be even more ridiculous. But eventually, and that's what's happened to Tesla recently, is eventually they're not going to be able to justify where they are. And people are going to start saying, well, that was fun, but I'm getting out. I don't know why I'm putting Tesla up there. So here's Tesla. It's not a long-term chart. But here's Tesla. But Tesla was 400 back in 2022. They were up here. Now they're kind of struggling to get back to 250, but 250 is still silly. It doesn't make it right. Just because it looks like that doesn't make it right. And here's Elon kissing his girlfriend. Also, why do I have to say this? Also, obviously fake, because she would have bigger breasts if she was a real girlfriend for him. And yucky skinny arms. I don't like that. It's not my kind of girl. Anyway, but point being, also completely fake picture, looks pretty real. You know, you don't when you look at it, you don't initially think about what's wrong with the robot, or nothing looks wrong with Elon, other than the fact that he seems way too into this. But it's a fake picture. It's a picture completely done by AI. He wasn't kissing anyone. There was no robot there at all. He wasn't there at all. None of it's real. You know, it's just, you can't tell what's real anymore. But that goes for financial data too. That goes for a lot of stuff you read. That goes for articles you read. That goes for analysis you read. We have to be so much more careful now than we have been, because it's nonsense. And I said this back in November when this AI first came out, I said this was the #1 danger of AI, and people are starting to agree with me now. It's nonsense feeding off nonsense. It's the fact that the #1 publisher of articles and information and analysis is now AI. And the AI reads the other AI that read the other AI that read the data from the other AI, and they all make some analysis, and it's redundant, and it's a self-replicating loop of bullshit, of things that aren't even true. Somebody only has to say something wrong once and get picked up by an AI, and it'll be wrong over and over and over and over and over again. So you really got to think about that when you're investing, when you're looking at results, when you're listening to these analysts now. It's going to start running our lives, but it's like, you know, there are a lot of science fiction movies like that. It's like there's one where it was Logan's Run, where there was an AI machine, or was it? Oh no, it was the other one, Rollable. Rollable. Ooh, great movie. The old, not the new one, the original Rollable. Yeah, there was like this kooky guy who took care of the machine that ran their entire society. They have like an AI telling them what to do, and that's it. But the people live in this idealized society. They all get to play like children their whole lives, basically, but they don't know anything. They don't know how anything actually works. They don't understand the structure they're in. It's all just been done by a machine for so long that everybody forgot how to worry about anything. And when it starts to fall apart, they go to ask the AI questions, and the AI is like, I'm not programmed to tell you that. There's the caretaker of the AI, you know, he's because James Caan is the great rollerball player, and he comes in to ask a question to the machine, and nobody ever asks a question to the machine. But so this guy's trying to explain to the AI, do you know who this is? You really need to answer the man's question. The AI is like, sorry, dude. But that's where we're going. You know, these things are going to make our lives easier and easier, and we're going to question it less and less. And when we have children, they're going to, there's no reason to know. You know, if you've got a little or whatever, if it's your phone or whether it's a thing on like a Star Trek thing on your chest that you press the button and say, hey computer, what's this and that? You know, hey Siri, same thing. It's like, hey Siri, what's this? Boom. So you don't need to know stuff. It's kind of silly to learn things that are already there. It's just like you don't need to learn very hard math because a calculator does that. If you're going to be an engineer, maybe you need to know the math. But honestly, a lot of that stuff can be done in a computer. They just don't like to tell you. But the bottom line is, I mean, you know, when it gets to the point like 40 years from now, and our grandchildren are starting off, my child will be 20 years from now, but when your grandchildren are starting to learn things, and or great grandchildren, whatever they are, and they're going to sit there and say, why do we need to know this? If it comes up in a conversation, I just push the little button on my chest and it tells me. Or frankly, by then they probably will only have to think, and the machine that they're linked up to in their mind will be able to tell them instantly what the answer is. But does that mean you're smart or no? Because if you cut that link to the machine, you're left on your own devices. We're about as useful as, you know, like if you time travel back, if you go back in time and you live in like an ancient thing, everybody's like, oh, you know, we'd be the rulers of the world if we went back 1,000 years. Like, no, you wouldn't, because you don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to hunt. I don't know how to skin something I've caught. I don't know how to start a fire to cook something with. I don't know, you know, I don't know anything. I don't know how to build a little stone house for myself. You know, we don't know those skills. We don't have to know those skills. They're not used anymore. But those are the skills that matter. If you get knocked back 1,000 years, the fact that you're really good with your iPhone isn't going to help you. There aren't any towers. You know, everything is contextual, and you have to really think about what's behind the thing you're reading or looking at, not just accept things. And I know it's a lot of homework, and I know it's sad, but we're actually taking steps backwards now. because people are too willing to trust these machines and too willing to jump into this. And I know I'm a big fan, I'm a big AI fan. I think it's great, but you can't deny what's going to happen. I see it all the time now. I mean, probably half the stuff I read from, in financial pieces is written by AI. Because I can tell, because it's, I'm a human. I am a human who writes financial stuff. I know when I read something that there's a certain pattern to it, a certain cadence, a certain way they assume things, that you can tell it wasn't written by a person. Anyway. I was talking about, like, 247 years ago, we used to have, there were things that were true in the truths to be self-evident, and there are truths, and you can say things like, okay, you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and it was accepted that people knew what that meant. And you know why? Because everybody, all the founding fathers, in their regular lives, before, in the preamble to writing the Declaration of Independence, these were a bunch of nobles and philosophers of the Americas who had all read Thomas Hume and David Locke and all the great philosophers of the time, and they debated these things, and they talked about what truth meant and life meant and liberty meant, and they didn't occur to them for a second they would have to explain these things. That's why we had to have the Bill of Rights after the Constitution, because they thought things were really obvious in the Constitution, and then they were like, oh dear, people don't seem to understand what we're talking about, and so they made the Bill of Rights. And the amendments to the Constitution, also the first 10 amendments, were also clarifications to be like, okay, apparently people didn't think it was obvious what we meant when we said you have the right to be free, and now we're going to tell you what the right to be free means, or what the right to happiness is. So, I was thinking, what does it mean when you say you have the right to life, liberty, and happiness? Do we have the right to health care? Do we have the right to education? Do we have the right to food and shelter? Do we have the free? Because the church used to provide food and shelter back then, but everybody went to church, and everybody tithing being giving 10% of your money to the church. Everybody gave to the church, and the church in turn would take care of the poor and take care of the food, and so on and so forth. And as to education, everywhere had a school. Everyone got to go to school. There was no question of that. University was different. Very few people went to university, but most of the founding fathers never went to university. They just kept reading books. They thought libraries were more important than universities, actually. But meanwhile, though, if you got into universities, people didn't pay much for college back then. It was something you were invited to. So if you were a good student, they would want to have you come to their college and learn more. And healthcare, everybody got healthcare. The doctor would take care of people, and some people would give them a nice thing. Like a rich man might give them more than a poor person could afford, but a poor person, would give them something. They'd give them a couple of eggs, whatever, for coming over, just as a thank you. Now people just simply can't afford that sort of thing. So do we have a right to it? Should it be protected? We're having these conversations now. So let me start talking about this. This is an interesting concept. Consumer confidence, which is more of a measure of saying, how do you feel about the economy? Do you plan in the next 6 months to take a vacation? Do you plan in the next 6 months to buy a washing machine? Do you plan in the next 6 months to do this? That's the kind of questions you get in the consumer confidence survey. And I think everybody plans on doing those things. I think everybody wants a new refrigerator. Everybody wants a new washing machine. Everybody wants to go on vacation in the next 6 months. And even if things are not going well right now, you kind of plan on it, unless you think the world is ending, which obviously people don't. That's another interesting thing. Don't forget, we're an entire population of people who don't believe, no matter how much evidence you show them, we don't believe that the world is going to end. We just keep going about our business as if nothing is wrong, and we actively refuse to do anything to fix it. It's like there's one planet, we're on it, We're not getting off it, and it's burning. And nobody wants to do anything about it. It's the craziest thing I see. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like the last thing we'll ever see, but it's crazy. The entire actions of the human race, and especially from an American perspective, are insane. We're on a planet that is falling apart. There are danger flags everywhere you look environmentally. The fish are dying now. They're just boiling alive in the oceans, basically. What's happening is the oceans are getting much warmer, much faster than they thought. The warmer ocean holds less oxygen. The fish are losing their oxygen, and that means they're having die-offs. There are patches in the ocean that are very oxygen depleted. The fish swim through it. They don't know it when they swim into it, but they can't get out and they die. That's the kind of stuff that's happening very often now. There are patches of very low oxygen ocean. Changes in environment, changes in temperature. They got to move from where they were comfortable. They move into predator zones, all sorts of things. Terrible, terrible things are happening to fish. Terrible things are happening to animals, insects, so on and so forth. Terrible things are happening to people. A lot of the migration that we see from people is people can't live where they used to live anymore. You know, Arizona can't live where it used to live anymore. They have no water. They banned new building. There's no new construction, but they can't maintain the old construction. It's happening right in front of our eyes. So anyway, so that's stupid. So what I'm saying is people are basically a little too optimistic, if anything. So that's where you're getting this in consumer confidence. Sentiment, and look at this, by the way, check it out. So we were at 100 in 2015. Okay, so in 2015, all these indicators were at about 100. The expectations have gone 20% lower since then. When people ask about the expectations of the economy, they're 20% lower. When people ask, how is your present situation? It's 40%, 50% higher. So my present situation is great, but my expectations are way worse. Here, my present situation is net neutral, whatever you call it. It's 100 is neutral. So my present situation is neutral. My expectations are neutral. I think everything's going to stay the way they are, and it's fine. Basically, is what these people are saying. What happened in this time, though, is expectations never really got better than neutral, and now they've gone way below neutral. Now it's like people are kind of pessimistic, not pessimistic, but they think things are going to be rough in the future. But their present situation, although it took a massive dive here during COVID, but present situation is up 50 freaking %. So at the moment, I'm fine, but I'm not very enthusiastic about what happens next. That's weird. Not fine, great. At the moment, I'm great, and I'm worried about what's going to happen next. Sentiment is saying right now, how you doing? How's your checkbook? How's your money? How's your spending? Do you have enough food? Blah, blah, blah. So at the moment, compared to the same, let's make sure it's the same exact time, 2015. So compared to 2015, present situation has gone from 90 to, what is that, like, let's call that 70. So it's down 20 points, down 20%, let's say. Okay. Expectations, which were at 70, are now at 60, so down 10%. But this is a very, very bad. Well, you can see from the total. The total here is 64, and the total here was just below 100. So that's a 1/3 drop off total in sentiment. So this drop off in sentiment mirrors the future expectations of confidence, 30% drop off, but for some crazy reason, the present consumer confidence is way up there. And I guess I guess most people got raises recently and most people got jobs recently. That's probably where it's coming from, is people get raises and jobs. So of course they're more confident, but they're still struggling. So when you ask them about the future, they probably think, well, it's better than it was before I didn't have this job or this raise, but I'm still worried about the future. Sentiment is more like they're asking the question closer to the bone and saying, hey, factually, how's your checkbook? How's your at the end of the month balance? Are you going more into debt? They're asking those questions. So that's what I think the difference is. It's an important thing though, because both of these are taken like gospel in the by economists and looking at the surveys, but it doesn't make any sense that they should be so far away. All right, so we talked about that stuff. Then we have this oil trade, and we played with some oil. And again, I don't trade futures very often, but it just was today happened to be a day when I thought things lined up, and we were happy with it. And I don't know where. Oh, there it is. That's what happened. I don't know if that's clear in a picture. But yeah, so we had we entered down here, and we our price was 67.50 on the oil, and our price was 243 on the gasoline, and we talked about that like first thing in the morning, like 10 o'clock or something like that, or 9 o'clock. Where was it? Oh, here, 10 o'clock. Okay, so while I was listening to Powell and while I was listening to all the responses from these guys, oh, that wasn't it. While I was listening to Powell and everybody talk. I'm always looking at my charts. Yeah, here it is, 9:30. So I said oil had never crossed back over 70. Last time we tried to play, we were hoping it would go over 70 so we could play it. Never really got there. But today we had this really big drop down from gasoline and oil, and we're coming into the holiday weekend, so I felt this was like a pretty good bottom to bet on. So I said 67.50 is a good play, and tight stops below it. So we came in at 67.50, and it's been straight up since then. 69.50. It's $2,000 a contract on these, and gasoline actually is even more because it pays a fortune. And that went from 243, and now we're at 249 after being rejected at 250. So those are great gains. But it's usually choppy, and I did make a stab at it last week, and I said, hey, if we get back over 70, we should play. We didn't get back over 70, so we didn't play. But then now, 67.50 was a winner. And again, because we know every $2.50 increment in oil is a good place to take a look. And the factor between that and that we're heading into the holiday, and they almost always try to boost oil and gasoline so that you pay more at the pump over the weekend and make all the traders richer. That was our concept there. Now, let's talk about the portfolios and what we can do with them. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to add some trades. First off, how are the portfolios? So we just added something to the long-term portfolio, something to the butterfly portfolio. In the $700 a month portfolio, we discussed that I want to take BBAR off the table. We're up a little bit on it. I'm just too worried about Argentina, like imploding. It's getting worse and worse, not better. I thought it was going to get a little better, and it's not. So there's no sense in risking this. We could be fancy and try to keep it, but why should we? So we added something to the income portfolio. We added to the long-term portfolio. We added to the butterfly portfolio. Can add to the money talk portfolio. We added the short-term portfolio. We added that put that we just talked about on Walgreens. We just added that Walgreens put. I don't have everything logged into here yet, but so point being though, we want to look at our portfolios and think about what do we want to add? So we definitely have the most room in the long-term portfolio. And we added Walgreens, don't forget. What do we have in the long term? Oh, Coinbase. Oh, Coinbase came back nicely. Yeah. Finally. Look at that. 50 to 70. And how are we playing this? Oh, a little bit aggressive too. Very, very nice. Okay. We'll have to roll those. I'm not sure. I think we adjusted that though. You know, generally everything's fine here. None of the positions are screaming problems. Foot Locker's still bad. That's the one that's hurting us the most, but nothing terrible. And the other ones are pretty much on track. So we're all good here. We can afford to add more positions. So we're going to look for a couple of things to add to the long-term portfolio. We have Apple. You know, you talk about you got to diversify your portfolio, right? But our main hedge is the NASDAQ, is the SQQ in the short-term portfolio. So any tech, any NASDAQ name, I feel is well covered, especially Apple, which is effectively the whole NASDAQ. So you got Apple, we got Coin, we got Foot Locker is not going to be helped by the NASDAQ really, if it can fall on its own. We have gold, we have Intel. Again, back to the NASDAQ, right? We have JP Morgan, we have Lennar, who we just added. We have, and all my premises on home building coming back are looking good so far. We have Lovesac, which is furniture retail, also doing well. Paramount, we just added. And SunPower, of course, and again, it's a NASDAQ, but we are not worried about SunPower either. That trend in solar, it's still the same price as we came in, but we feel very, very strongly this trend in solar is going to really take off. And then we've got VFC. So the question is, what don't we have? So now we're going to take a look at the watch list and say, hey, is it something that we could add to the long-term portfolio without being too redundant? So let's find a couple of good candidates. Where's my thing here? Okay, so this is a watch list. We've had this watch list since oh, here it is, 12/28. So from 12/28, this is our watch list, and we've got Akamai, we have Allstate. I like the insurance companies, but we did a whole thing on insurance before, so we already went through that. APD is not cheap. APO is not cheap. Broadcom is not cheap at all anymore. Wow. And don't forget, we were liking these guys back here. That's when we wrote up the watch list. Boeing also took off a lot. Barclays still cheap. Okay, and that's one I wouldn't mind adding. So we should write that down. So we say BCS. Let's say watch list candidates. Now we got BCS. Whoop. Big Lots, you know, I kind of like Big Lots, but they're in I don't like their financials, and they do have troubles, but I do like the fact that they just picked up all of the Bed Bath and Beyond. They just picked up all their stuff for like $28 million. You gotta be able to make money on that, right? so people started buying them, based on that logic. The problem is though, they went more into debt to do it, and then they've got to push it out to the stores and so on and so forth. And meanwhile, Bed Bath and Beyond went bankrupt with the same stuff in their stores. So, but that's how Big Lots makes money, right? They buy stuff cheap and they sell, they buy stuff from people who go bankrupt and buy a lot of it, and then they resell it. BLK is too expensive for us, so we're not really into that. BGFG is a nice little sporting good retailer, and I liked them at 9 back in November or whenever in December. I liked them at 9. That's right, it's the end of December. So they're right back where they were, basically. BNTX, the COVID thing is hurting them. Berkshire is Berkshire, you know, may as well buy the S&P. BXMT, I love these guys. This is just another one of those REITs that's way too cheap, so I guess we should probably put a note there, right, for BXMT. They're starting to take off. Boyd already massively flew up, so we're not going to bother chasing them. Citibank is still cheap. Cheesecake Factory is still cheap. We're gonna keep hitting that. Caterpillar, anytime Caterpillar is cheap, you should buy it. Capital One, nah. And I say now, not because there's anything wrong with Capital One, but just because we have Citi. So I like Citi. Citi's fine. CIM, we already have it, but I love it. Cleveland Cliff, I like them. If there's no recession, they will fly higher, and they only took a small loss in 2020, so nice to have for the long run. Well, good advice, Phil. Let's follow that. CLF, definitely don't have. That's a nice one because it's a sector we definitely don't have in the watch list. Comcast, they're up a bit. They're not up too much, but you know, if I think I'd rather have Disney, frankly. Coin, we know we like. We have them already. Crocs, coming back down. If they come back down to 80, I definitely want them. Cisco, not super cheap, but you know, we picked them in December here, and they're here. It's not like they went up too much. But we already have Intel, so it's a little redundant. Chevron, no thank you. Delta, whoa, Delta is flying. Dell is flying. Wow, look at Dell getting recognition. Disney still in the dumps. Okay, I think it's worth a look. That's one worth researching some more. Now go back to Dix took off already. Dow Chemical, again, if there's no recession, then why are they so cheap? Yeah. That's an important thing. You got to think about what's changed since he set up the list and what expectations are no longer there. eBay, I'm a little worried about eBay. I'm worried about Amazon because these AIs are going to make these sites kind of pointless. People are going to start using AI. You know, what do I need eBay for? You know, the robot can do everything eBay does for me. It can list it, it can advertise it, it can show people what I've got. It can make arrangements for the sale. It can do the auction. You know, I mean, if eBay's smart, that's what they're doing now. They're working on the AI. But the problem is, it's going to be too easy to do. So there's nothing special about what eBay does. What's eBay do? They facilitate an auction. So in other words, if I want to buy, and here, true story. I broke my Disney cup. And I like my Disney cup a lot. So I wanted to get another one. Let me see. Disney mug eBay. No. Here you go. That guy. Okay. 35 bucks. What is going on here? Used eBay 30-day return. Why can't you load? Oh, there he goes. Okay. Oh, here's somebody better. There's 20 bucks. That's more reasonable. I'm like 35. Oh, $15. Winner. All right. Yes, continue as Philip. Oh no, see, he's not the same though. It's the shape. I just really like this shape mug, works for me. I don't know why. They had a whole set of different kinds. Oh yeah, there's Minnie Mouse. That's another good one. I have all this set, but my grumpy guy broke, so I had to look on Disney to find him. Whoa, made in Thailand. But I don't know why. I can't. I don't know if I can explain it. It's just it's a really good mug, and it holds a lot, and it's really comfy. And I like the fact that it's skinny in the middle and fat on the top and the bottom. It doesn't. It like has a very low spill quality to it, and it's just I don't know. I enjoy them. I don't know why I like it, but it's my favorite coffee mug shape. Anyway, so we had the whole set from Disney. They were like 4 different kinds, and they all look like that. And one broke, and I went to eBay. So of course, okay. So bottom line, why did I go to eBay? Because eBay has this kind of crap. This is where people who sell used things. I knew they didn't make it anymore. Where people who sell used things put their stuff on eBay, so that's going to give you your best shot, right? But in reality, all I have to do is this. You see this F7604188? I don't know. So a good way to, oh yeah, here you go. Okay, so now I can just go F760-4188-0-1157. And Google's telling me it's the wrong thing. But if it was an AI, and Google's supposed to be using an AI, but if it was an AI, or probably because it's discontinued, grumpy mug. Oh, there you go. See, needs a little more information. It can get it for me. $8. Well, look how faded he is. So what happened to him? Oh man, he's been through the ringer. This guy. I don't know if I want. I don't know. I want one that's that beat up. Anyway, so the point is, I don't need eBay to do this for me, because eBay's kind of like Google, where it'll just find me what I asked for, right? If I give it the right information, it's going to find it for me and then say, is this what you mean? Great. And then it's going to go get it for me. Whatever the format, however the person is selling it on the other side, all they have to do is let me know it's for sale. And let's say instead of a credit card or whatever, they would just say, Venmo me this money and I'll send it to you. And I know, yeah, eBay has guarantees and so on and so forth, but all this is going to get worked out. There'll be independent insurance companies coming through to take care of this stuff. So instead of everybody going through eBay, it'll decentralize, because AI is going to allow anybody to have the kind of power that eBay has. And that means if tomorrow I want to sell my grumpy mug, all I have to do is take a picture of it and feed it into my AI and say, AI, please list this for me for $8. You know, please list this for me for a minimum of $10 for a 30-day auction period. And my AI is gonna put out the information, and anyone else in the world who is looking for it is gonna find my AI, because it knows how to list itself, and it's gonna then communicate and make a deal. That's bad to eBay. Anyway, not to get too caught up on one thing, but you know, you got to think about this stuff for everything you go through. What's changed since last year? What changed since December? Their model, their moat is falling apart. Now, again, if they're smart, they're going to reinvent themselves and go totally AI and so on and so forth, but they're still going to face a lot more competition. So, you know, models like eBay and Amazon, who really make their money by charging you for their proprietary stuff, and no longer going to be very proprietary. ERJ is getting orders for their jets. That's good. ET we just picked up, even though it's expensive. I still love it. Expedia, again, travel is being disenfranchised by AI. Not Expedia. Who's the other one? Travelocity. Travelocity is now heavily getting into AI. But you don't need Travelocity. It goes back to the same thing. I go to, look, this is Bing, right? Kind of in here somewhere. What's going on? Not opening. How weird. Why is that happening? Oh, well. Conceptually, though, I don't know why it refuses to open. Oh, what is this? Recently closed. Microsoft Edge, open up. Nope. Probably gotta reboot. Anyway, conceptually, if you go, it's not, ChatGPT doesn't have the current stuff, although it's getting more updated, and the new version is going to have current links to the web. Now they have plugins for ChatGPT. That's how they're going to start making money. They're going to be like the Apple Store and sell plugins for the chatbots. Very smart. So same thing. I'm disenfranchising the travel site, so I can now go on Bing and say, and you can do it in Google. You know, when I go to Google and I say New York to Miami, June 30th to July 5th. I want to go see the kids. And it says New York City to Miami, New York City to Miami, blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing, from June 3rd, June 5th, here are the prices depending on, I guess, the times. No, I don't know what that means, actually. I don't know, this is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Oh, I see. It's showing me the cheaper times to fly. So it's saying this, oh, I get it. So on Friday, it's $481, but if I put it off a week and I do it the next week, it's going to be way cheaper, $156. That's what's happening. So in other words, I can't suddenly decide to go see my kids without spending $481 on Spirit, which is going to end up being like $800, and then JetBlue's $800. I guarantee that when you're done, this is the same price, because this is they charge you fee upon fee upon fee a year. But wow, that's a lot. So now if I say the next week, July 7th, July 12th, I don't want to do July 12th. I want to do come back on Monday. No. July 7th, coming back on Monday. And now we're back to like normal prices for New York to Florida. So Google can already do this. It can't book it, but Bing is starting to get to be able to book it. You put in the extension to Expedia and stuff like that, not Expedia, Travelocity, and it can suddenly, you can book your flights. And so all this stuff is now changing, and you know, we're only still 6 months into this whole AI thing. There's by next year, life is going to be super different from all these different robots that are going to be able to do stuff for you. So meanwhile, all that is said, that just means I don't like Expedia as much as I used to. Federal Express, I don't know why. I don't know why they still make this much money. I don't know why people still use them at the prices they charge, but they do. Ford, we just added, if I remember correctly. Future Fuel, I always like these guys. We should look at them again. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff recently, didn't we? Foot Locker, I like them here. They're damn cheap enough. Frontline, no. GE, wow. Look at GE. Jesus. See, I liked them at 60, they're at 100. Gilead also, Big Pop, GLW. You know, still in the money, but I don't feel like a compelling reason to buy them. GNRC, it's a little expensive for our portfolios. That's the only problem, but they're so good. I got to write these down. It's such a good company. Barrett Gold, I'm pretty sure we bought them, but I want to check because, oh yeah, no, we just own in the portfolio, so don't worry about it. Google, you know, I think Google's in trouble. I think their model's in trouble. And same thing though, if you look at, look, if I want to find something out, I go here. I don't necessarily go to Google. It's not terrible, but here's the problem with Google. And look, this is a real problem with Google right here. Sponsored, sponsored, sponsored. I don't want that. I want the answer. Don't show me your crappy places. I want the answer. I want to know where the cheapest flight is. Just tell me the facts. When I ask AI, I get the facts. Here, Google. We'll make the exact same question. Where is the best place to get Peking duck in Delray Beach, Florida? Okay. So it's sending me to other sites where I have to look stuff up. I mean, this is what it's giving me a summary list. Let's say it's the same exact question, of ChatGPT. The best place to get Peking duck in Delray Beach. Wow, cop out. Can you suggest 5 good places? So it's telling me how I could find out. I'm like, don't tell me how I could find out. What? Oh my God, they changed it again. What is this bullshit? Now it's like refusing to tell me where to get food? See, you can use the methods I mentioned earlier. Please just use the information you have. Restaurants don't change that often. There you go. That's how it used to answer before this bullshit. Now you got to change the way you ask the question. So, Uncle Ty's, lemongrass, China Gardens, Jasmine's. And what did Google end up saying when we asked that question? Totally different restaurants. But you see, the point is, though, that Google only says these aren't clickable or followable or anything like that. It's just telling you the names of places without being particularly informative, whereas ChatGPT, with no ads, no extra bullshit, again, the wording needs to be changed now because of the way it's acting, but is able to tell me Uncle Ty's is this, it's this kind of place, here's the address, lemongrass is here, here's the address, China Gardens here, positive reviews, Peking duck. It's giving me like actual information that's useful. And that's what makes these kind of places in trouble. What's Google's business model is to tell you to click on links. This is a business model that tells me I don't need to click on a link. Well, if I get the wording right, but there's no link to click on here. If I need to look, I'll look in Google to get the address. But meanwhile, he's telling me Uncle Ty's, 525 East Atlantic. Oh, I know where that is. It's 420 East Atlantic. Sure, obviously. 6th Avenue, Delray Beach. That's right. That's near me also. And these two are back on the main drag. So a bit of a drive. But these guys are all right around, very close to where I live. I know them anyway. They're legitimate picks. You can tell what I'm in the mood for. So anyway, so I think Google is going to struggle with their business model. Bard is by far the worst of the search of the artificial intelligence, and on purpose they can't make it better than Google. They can't come up with an AI that's better than their own stuff. So here's Halliburton now. I'm not sure what's going on with the oil right now. It's tough. What we did a couple of days ago, or last week, I guess, we showed there was a chart that showed the enormous depletion. It used to be like $50 million was spent on regular oil, on petroleum exploration and production every year, and 20 million was being spent on solar energy, maybe going 5 years back or so. Now it's the other way around. Now there's only 20 million being spent on petroleum production, 50 million being spent on solar energy, on not just solar, but solar and other renewables. So it's a steady, dramatic decline in people looking for new projects. And why is that? Because these oil projects, and I'm working with some gas wells in Pennsylvania, and the way it works is these guys secure the rights to a well. Obviously, they've scoped it out already, and they know how essentially how much is in it. So let's say the well has $22 million worth of natural gas in it, right? But the way the wells work is that they deplete very quickly. So in the first year, you're going to get about a quarter of the gas out. You get you'll get 5 million something out. The next year, you'll get 2.5 million out, and then it goes down to maybe 1 million a year. At some point, it steadies out after that. But the first year is about a quarter, and the next year is half of that, and the next time it's half of that. And then it starts steadying out, and you're just regularly pumping out the bottom of the barrel, basically. But key is that you're going to get your it's going to cost $9 million to drill the well. You're going to get your $9 million back in 3 years, and after that, it's all profit. It's a return rate that works for some people, and you can augment it with loans or whatever. But realistically, you're going to get like a 15% return on your money when you put it into a well. When you amortize it out and figure out how fast you're getting back the first batch versus the rest, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, like I said, it's 15% over like 20-year lifespan. The problem is, though, we don't know for sure that you're going to get to the end of your 20-year lifespan with these products. People are switching over to solar so fast, and wind energy and so on and so forth so fast, that in 5 years or 10 years, it's very possible no one wants anything out of your well. And then what? Now you've got a well that you've dug, and you expected to get $10 million more out of, and you're not. It blows your entire profit curve on these deals. So that's my worry with Halliburton. Hanes brand, underwear, I don't have a problem with them. I think they're kind of stupidly cheap. We should take a look at them. Oops. Honeywell bumped up already. Hewlett Packard, or HP is different than Hewlett Packard. They're fine. IBM, we always like IBM down here, but it's a little expensive, and we don't need it. If it got back down to 120, I'd be very much wanting it. IEP, I'm not excited enough. Intel, we already have. I very much like them. International Paper, we picked up, I think. No particular reason to love them. Although cardboard packaging is probably going to become more of a thing again, because people just can't. They got to stop using plastic. It's a big problem. ISRG is taken off already. IVZ is in good shape. Do we need investment management? Would we like that? We should look at them. And then we got Jack in the Box. I love them. Jets is betting on the airline industry. JP Morgan is JP Morgan. We already have them. Nordstrom's, I'm not super excited about playing on Nordstrom's right now. Jackson Hewitt, uh-oh. We always like Jackson Hewitt when they're down. Gotta add them. So we're not gonna pick 2, but we'll have to take a look. Kraft Heinz, having a rough time. I'd like to see where they finish falling. Labor, we gave up on the biotech ETF. It's awful. Levi, I really like. All right, got to put them in. Got to have respect for Levi. Logitech. The reason I might have changed my mind on Logitech is because there's more and more speaking to computer. You're not going to need mice and keyboards are kind of getting out of the way when you can just talk to the computer and tell it what you want it to do. So, it's like more Siri and less actual typing. When you can say to these things like, do me a spreadsheet on this and that and set this cell here and set that cell there. Some people are going to be faster doing the keyboards, but a lot of people are not going to bother with that stuff anymore. Lovesac, we already have, obviously. Lowe's, I like them, but they already jumped. Lloyd's Bank already jumped. Oh, wow, LVS really took off. Holy cow. MDT, I like them a lot. They're still pretty cheap. We should check them out. MetLife, they're basically my favorite down here. Yeah, I think. I don't know if we did them already, though. Did we? Anybody remember? Do like them. I like them much. I like them better than Allstate. But I remember we were determining who had exposure to property casualty. I was worried about because of all the fires, floods, etc. from the environment. It's hard to say how much they're going to get hit for that sort of thing. And we did check it out, and I forgot who won. Facebook, of course, coming back nicely. MGM doing okay. Middleby, love Middleby, is cooking. Basically, there's commercial quality stoves for restaurants. They make Viking and other gas grills. Are they compelling here? I don't know. I'd like to see the numbers. So, I mean, for the reason that I want to see the numbers, that we should put them in. Moderna, again, the post-COVID, it's tricky. They've got other stuff in the pipeline. I do like them as a long-term play, but not really a short-term play. There's too much risk. Metal Steel is great in Europe. Micron is Micron, also great. Netflix, I don't know what's happening with the password sharing thing. I want to see what happens first. Nike, always fun. I kind of like Crocs better though. NRG coming back, but I'm not into that play right now. NLY, same as CIM. I'd rather play CIM. New York Community Bank, we already added. OMI, not compelling yet. Olin, no, not really. Paramount, we just added. TBR took off too fast. Pfizer, absolutely. Whenever we see Pfizer down there, we got to give it some respect. PHM, holy crap. Wow. That's almost a double. Philip Morris, chugging along, just added them to the butterfly portfolio. Here's Prudential, too much property casualty for me. Qualcomm, I don't know why they're not going like Broadcom. That's weird. QSR has done great. Another good reason to do who was it? We had a Cheesecake Factory. Just if people are going eating out at the QSR, why wouldn't they be eating out at the Cheesecake Factory? Rail, no thank you. RH, love these guys. Too expensive for our portfolios, but I love them. Rig, no thank you. Rio, tricky, but no. SIG, oh dear. Not a compelling reason for it. SKT, I like them, but they're not very cheap. Schlumberger, same problem as Halliburton. SoFi, we already have them. Sony, they were way too cheap in December. They're not really cheaper now. SPG, I like in general. A little bit cheaper, but not compelling. SunPower, obviously compelling. Should be in a lot of portfolios. We already have them though in portfolios. STLA, doing good. SWK, very low, very, very low down here. That's one we got to consider. SYF, no. T, we recently talked about T and we decided this was cheap enough, so we should put it on our list. T, TD Bank, pretty damn cheap. Target, also very cheap. TNDM, no compelling reason to buy them at the moment, I don't think. Because they're like pre-money, that's the problem. Toyota came up nicely from the bottom. It's a crazy bottom down here, 135. I don't want to chase it at the moment though. T-Mobile, no, thank you. I'd rather play AT&T. Trucks, again, if you don't have a recession. Oh, it was no margin. I don't think they have options though. That's why we didn't play them. That's right. We were going to play the same thing with Trivago. They don't have options. Otherwise, they're a great play. Tesla, we talked about this morning. TTE, no thank you. Tupperware, no thank you. TWO is another REIT, not the favorite, so we're not going to play him. UHS already took off like crazy. Visa took off again. Vail. Okay, gotta look at Vail again. BMC is gone already. Walgreens we just added because it got too cheap. Whirlpool, always like them down here. That's those people who say they're going to buy appliances, right? From those sentiment reports. Walmart came back too fast. WSM I like a lot. But we already looked at the RH and whatever. Wirehouse is good. X is good, but yeah. Xerox, no thank you. Yeti. Oh, we forgot about Yeti? Ooh. Is Yeti not in port? We definitely have in some portfolio. Yeti, okay. These are all still interesting. And we're discussing them in the webinar. Oh, I always highlight and copy before I hit post in case something happens to my comment. So then we want to rack up. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Nobody has any questions. Okay. So who's first on that list? Barclays. BC. Okay. So, you know, looking at Barclays, 754, $29 billion. They make, or they project to make $5.2 billion. So that's like 6 times earnings, basically. Their revenues are up from where they used to be. Their profits are way up from where they used to be. So they seem to be in very good shape. Their dividends are increasing, so they seem confident about what they're doing. Their debt has, they've borrowed a significant amount of, well, I'm sorry, no, TTM doesn't count. They had, as of this time, $16 billion net of cash. That's pretty freaking good, or 16 million pounds net of cash, but not too much different. Assets, you know, you can't tell with the bank, but this is a bank that's in phenomenal shape. And they are, you know, the Barclays, the Bank of England is never going to let them die. So this is solid bank with great numbers and great growth and great profits and a low PE. So why do we not have them? So now it's a question going back to your portfolio and saying, well, where do they fit? Clearly they fit in the long-term portfolio, right between A and C, in fact. So let's now we say, can we make a good play out of it? So now the final step is say, okay, that seems good, but can we make a good play out of BCS at 750? Oh, dividend. Who is Yahoo? BCS. They are paying a 35-cent dividend, which is almost 5%. That's kind of crazy. So now we go to Barclays. We look how far out we can get. We can go to 2025. We like that. Look at this. All right. So the thing to worry about when you're selling a short call, the most likely reason you're going to get called away is because someone's going to steal your stock ahead of the dividend, right? But if the dividend is 35 cents, I'm sorry, it's 35 cents for the year. It's only 7 cents for the quarter. All right. And that means that if I sell, not 7 cents, whatever it works out to, 9 cents. So it's 9 cents for the quarter. But if I sell the $5 calls for $2.85, that's giving me a net $7.85 exit, and it's $7.54 now. And I know you think like, well, $7.85, that's not very much money. But the point is that I'm spending 7.54 minus 2.85 is 469. I'm going to get called away at 5 with a small profit. But if I don't get called away, then I'm getting that same 35 cents back on my 469. Not only that, though, but I can now promise to buy more Barclays for 75 cents. It's hardly worth it, though. I can promise to buy more Barclays for 75 cents at 7. So the point being, if I'm getting called away above $5, right, I'm going to make my small profit. I'm going to make my 31-cent profit plus whatever dividends I manage to make during that time. If it goes above 7, then I'm going to keep 80 cents. So let's say minus 80. So now I'm down to 389. Okay, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's $1.11. 111 divided by 389 is 28%. So if I do sell the $7 puts and I sell the $5 calls, going to be very hard to burn me, right? Barclays would have to be significantly down for me not to make some money on this trade, not to mention I'm collecting the dividends. So for an 18-month play that's going to net me that's going to net me 28%, and all they have to do is not drop significantly, that's a nice little trade, right? It's a good thing to put money into. It might work in the income portfolio, because while I'm waiting, I'm also going to be collecting, and I forgot the number now. All right, let's try it again. 7.54 minus more than 285, but let's say 2.85 minus 80.8 is 389. And what did we say it was? It was 30. It's 35 cents in dividends. So it's almost 10%. So I'm also getting another 10%. So now we're up to 38% for playing the straight stock play. So then we look at what's the alternative. Okay, the alternative is I sell the $10 put I can sell for 3, and that nets me in for 7. That's a little aggressive, but I like it. And we could pick up the 5s, or we just said they're 285 or more. So 285 minus 150 is that 7 though? No, that's too cheap. Well, let's see, 285 minus 150 is 135, but then it's minus 290 is 155 credit. Okay. So if we put this in the income portfolio and we sell, let's say 20 of the $2.90, so 20 times 290 is $5,800. We got $5,800 to play with, and this spread is realistically it's 290 minus 150. 290 minus 150 is 140. And how much did we say we had to play with? It was 5,800, right? Yes. So 5,800 divided by 140, 40. So for zero net dollars, we can do 40 of the 5-7 spreads, and that's $8,000. The $2 spread, so it's $8,000 if we stay at 7 on this side, and on this side we're obligating ourselves to buy 2,000 shares at 10. Now, if it stays at 7, we'll be down 3. That's $6,000. So we'd actually still make money. We still have 8,000 plus at 7, but we lose 6,000 here. But anything above that, we can make up to the full spread of $8,000. And then, of course, you got to consider the fact that you can roll the short puts. So we like that. So let's call that a trade. Let's take a look at that. So given what we have to work with here, prospectively, so income portfolio, buy, sell 20 BCS, 2025, $1.10 puts for 2.90, buy 40 BCS, 2025, trying to think, I'm not gonna be able to do it, I gotta look anyway. Was it the 5-7, right? Yeah, it was. It's $5 calls for 385, sell 40 BCS 2025, $1.07 calls for, we're not collecting dividends here. For 150, it was 280, 290 minus 150. I keep doing that. Oh, it's way less. 290 150. All right, do we get our numbers right? 290, 150, and 295 or 290. Yeah, so just coincidentally it was 290 and 290. All right. So that's 290 times 20, 5,800. It's going to be, of course, the same 5,800. Oh, no, it's not. It's 11,600 because it's double. And then this one is going to be $6,000. So actually, that's a net $200 credit on the $8,000 spread. Okay, so that's our top contender right now because it's the first one we looked at. Then we look at the next one. BXMT, also a big dividend payer. I like them a lot. Okay, so what do they pay? BXMT. And they pay, wow, 248. We got to find some way to actually buy this, right? So this goes also to the income portfolio. 248. Wow. All right. So 2064. How do we lower that cost basis? How do we make ourselves safe? Okay, obviously we sell these things for $2 and we're down to 18. We sell these things for 3+ and we're down to 17. And we're at 20, so there's no reason we wouldn't want to do that. Wow, 580. We sell the $15 calls for 580. No, there's, the problem is there. It's a 40-cent. Was it 248? It's like a 60-cent dividend each quarter. So if you don't have 60 cents worth of premium in the play, you're going to get called away. So here's 18, and let's say we get 320. That's 20. That's 2120. That works. See, 2120 works. So there you go. That's what we do. If we do that, oh, and look how much money you get paid for the short puts. Wow. Oh, that's nice. All right. So let's see. 350 for this guy. So it's a 20 puts for 350. Start with that. Oh. BXMT. Sell 5. BXMT 2025. $20 puts for, what do we say, 350? That should be fair. What is that? Okay, and then what can we buy? What can we afford with 1750? Oh, we're gonna buy the stock. Ha ha ha. So let's buy 500 shares BXMT for 20.64, 20.64, 206. Yeah, that's right. 2064 times 500. $1 million. 206.4 times 5. That's what I meant to do. 10,000. 10,320. 10320. Sell 5 BXMT, $2025, $18 calls. Do we decide? Yep, 18s for 320. That's net. Do you want to go 10? Might want to go 10. See how good it is. It is net 2064 minus 670. It's net 1424. 14.24. Called away at 18 with a $3.76 profit. So 376 divided by 1424 is 26%. But what makes this one work is plus, where did we say that was? 248. So it's going to be 248 times 1.5, 248 times 1.5 for 6 dividends left, plus 372 plus, wow, 3.72. So it's doubling. It's coming up to like 50 something percent. So 372 divided by 1424 is 26% again. All right, so we're looking at this as all right, so in this case, now the question is, do we want to do double that in the income portfolio? Is it really good enough for us? And that's when we have to go back to the portfolio review, and we look into the income portfolio. Looking at the income portfolio, and we say to ourselves, well, what are we making now? What are our trades like? So 112% on this one. Intel, what did we say about this? Okay, we weren't counting on making profit on Intel when we did this review back on the 13th. It's improved quite a bit since then. So things are looking up for Intel. But we weren't counting on even making profits there. Coca-Cola had a very small profit. This one's up 334%. I think if we sell the 10s, we should certainly do that. Okay. SunPower, we were liking that to make, oh, that says 500% income potential. So it's on the low end of what we've been getting for payoffs. It's not huge, but I do, I mean, it's an income portfolio. I want to have some stuff that does my dividends. We don't have anything really collecting dividends right now. So let's do that with a small one to see how it goes. We can always expand on it later. So so we'll set that into stone, basically. Oh, the question was, do I want to do 1,000? Because it may be a very boring return otherwise. Because as it stands now, we could make $8,000. I like I don't see nothing wrong with making $8,000, but we'd be tying up. We're only tying up $14,000 to make $8,000. I think that's very reasonable, right? All right, let's make it 10. 1, 0, and then it's going to be 10, and it's going to be 10. So now it's going to be 20,640. This is going to be 3,500, and this is going to be 3,200. Same net, same everything else. But now when we get those dividends, we're going to get $3,000. So we're going to get $3,720 in dividend and $3,760 in profit. So it's going to be about 748, $7,480 in profits, which is 52% of 1424. So I think we can live with that. And notice we sold the $20 put, so we're right on line with where it is now. And our worst case scenario is going to be that we're going to own. See, now if we get assigned and it drops, right? We spent $1,424 for the first 1,000, right? Well, we spent 14240 is what we spent for the first 1,000. Then we get assigned 1,000 more at $20,000. So now we have 34 divided by 2 is $17.12 each. So minus 20640 is the current price is 35.20 divided by the current price 20640, 17% off. So our worst case in this trade, and that's assuming we do collect our dividends, but our worst case in this trade is that we're going to be, no, I'm sorry, that's not even counting the dividends. Our worst case in this trade, not even counting the dividends, is a 17% discount on 2,000 shares from where we are today. That's our worst case. If you include the dividends, that goes well over 20% discount to the current price. So that's our worst case in getting involved in this. So I like that a lot. That's a damn good reason to be there. We'd be very happy to own that much and then just sell the calls against it and whittle our position down to a lower and lower strike. All right, so there's 2. Do we have time for any more? I'll keep going in the other portfolio. Now, who else is probably going to be a good income play? Oh, how about AT&T? We don't have that in the income portfolio? I know we just added it to something. All right, so AT&T pays what dividend? Let's talk about them. Nope, Yahoo. There you go. So you worry, T should cut their dividend. I don't know if they will. At the moment, it's still 111, but I just think cash flow wise, they should be cutting it. So $15.74 for AT&T. And they're paying a 111 dividend. You can sell the $15 puts for 10% of their value, right? That's going to be basically a 10% discount. You can sell the $15 calls for $2. That's a lot. That's their $15.75. But let's see how the math works. If we buy the stock for $15.75 minus is that $1.70? No, it's not. It's $1.68. Minus 1.68 for the puts, and those are the $15 puts, minus 205, minus 2.05 for the short calls. So now that $1.11 is like a 10% dividend for one thing. For another thing, we're at 12 and we sold the 15 calls, so we could call it away at 3, and that's 25% right there. So basically, we'll be collecting about 40% between dividends and stock. And again, AT&T is, you know, they're a 100-year dividend payer. So it's something that, you know, if we accumulate in our portfolio and just let it be there, we'll get dividends for life. And we want to get dividends for life. That's why it's called an income portfolio. You know, and again, the key to the income portfolio is we want to be able to take out 2% per quarter, and 2% a quarter. And so if we're collecting 10% dividends, just dividends on this position without it worrying about the puts, any put sales or whatever, we're already on schedule. So we can just leave this stock sitting there, let it accumulate itself. We're at $12 now, and what did we do? We sold $3 worth of puts and calls, right, in the 18 months. So if we sell $3 3 more times, so that's going to be 6 years. In 6 years, we can sell $3 4 more times every 18 months for 6 years, and we'll have a zero cost basis, and we'll still be collecting our dividends. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just keep doing the same thing for 6 years, and this whole stock is free. Well, not 6 years, that's 6 years plus the 18 months we're starting with. But there's nothing wrong with that. And also, again, it's the example kind of thing that we should have in the income portfolio. It can't be all options. What is my option choice for AT&T though? Well, let's see. Let's say I aggressively sold the 17 call because I think it's too cheap. All right, so we sold that for $270. And let's say we sell 10 of them for $2,700. We're obligated to buy 1,000 shares of AT&T for $17,000. What would we take with that? We're being given $2,700 for selling these things for $270. We're at 15. So if we took the 13-17 spread, that's 330 and 120. All right, so 330 minus 120 is 210 for the $4 spread. So basically, we make 100% on that spread. So 10 would be 2,000, 20 would be 40. Well, times 20 is 4,200 minus the damn it, what do we say? 170. It's only 170 now. It's 160. What? No, it's 168. Oh no, we said we're going to do the. What do we say we would sell? The 17s? 17. Sorry, for 270. So minus 2,700 is 1,500. So we're paying 75 cents each for the 1370, and 20 of those is $8,000 worth of spreads. And so all it has to do is get to 17, and we're going to make $6,500. Now, the question is, would I rather do that or would I rather own the stock? And the answer is I'd rather own the stock. Because I'm getting paid a dividend. It's nice, it comes in, it's cash. We're going to get our appreciation on the stock anyway, and we intend to own it long term. So there's no need to muck about with options. So in this case, yes, let's do it that way. What way was that? I forgot already. I believe we were selling. I believe we were selling the $15 puts for 168. So then we're going to buy T stock, sell 10 T2025, $17 puts for 1.68, which is $1,680. Sell 10 T2025. What calls were we selling? I forgot. We sold 13 calls for 330. Well, the 15 calls for 205. What did we decide? We were doing the 205s. Yeah. Okay, I can see that. All right, so $15 calls for 205. And buy 1,000 T for 1,575. $1,750. Okay. So that is net. Uh, 15750 minus 1680 minus 2050. That's net. $12.02, and we get 1.11 dividend. X 1.05 is not 1.05, 1.5. 1.5 times 1.11, 1.665. So that's going to be minus 12, 10.33 is net 10.33. So what do we average? Whoop. So it's 12.02 plus 15.75 divided by 2, 1388. 5. So what's $2? Or actually more, 190 divided by 15.75 is 12%. So on 2,000 shares, and that's a 12% discount to the current price. All right, so that's our worst case there. And we're going to say in and bold and do this. And we're going to say, whoop, and we're going to say in and bold and do that. Okay. And there you go. So just so you know, that's how much work I put in, and these are for stocks we've already reviewed, you know, and have been watching for 6 months. But that's how much work I put in, and then all you guys end up seeing is this little thing over here that says, "Let's buy these 3 stocks." And it took me like 2 hours of work to get there. That's okay. So now we got 3 new trades for the income portfolio. And they're I didn't really do the write-up on this one. I did here. This net the net credit on the spread. So we have an $8,000. So we have $8,000 upside here. This one is 1424 called away at 18, which is 4,000 plus the dividend is 7,000 bucks. So we have 8,000, 7,000, and we've got another. We're net 1202. We get called away at 17 for 5,000 plus the dividend is another 7,000. So let's call it 877 is $22,000 that we're going to have. There's no cash out of pocket here, and here we got 26,000. So we're putting out for 18 months, we're putting out $26,000. We're going to get $22,000 back if all goes well. And we'll get it back in such a way with the dividends that it's going to cover the 2% we want to take out monthly in the portfolio. And that's the key to building that portfolio up. Anyway, time is up. Any questions? Dan says, I like it when you do this example from the watch list. I'm learning a lot. Yep, good. And I know Yeti was our pick. I'm going to continue this. I'm not going to abandon it. I'm going to do it when we're in chat, though, but because we don't have time to do it forever. But yeah, that's what I want to do. I mean, I want you guys to get the idea of how we're picking stuff, how we're building the spreads, what kind of stuff we look at. You know, it's a process, but you know, you got to learn it somehow, right? So the best way to do it is just do it by example. All right. So thank you everybody for coming. I'm going to continue with those stocks that we pulled. And remember, this watch list has been there since December 28th. At this point, we're just adding a few from the watch list, and every month or so we add a few more. That way we make sure the market is stable, that the positions are performing and things are going well. But now we've got another group of stocks that we want to start plowing through and putting them into our portfolios and adding them up. All right, we have plenty of hedges covering us. That's the other thing, though. Keep in mind, we use the STP for hedges. Got plenty of hedges covering this stuff up. It is definitely time to start looking at some trades if we can. How's the market holding up? Yep, see, it's just fluttering along. Nothing drastic. Wow, natural gas got killed though, right? How's it oil? Oil still high? Wow, gasoline still high. All right, been a good day. Very productive, guys. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll do it again next week. Oh, and have a happy holiday, right? We got a nice long weekend. Take care.